Modern Flower Creations YouTube page. Today we will do a tutorial on the Ellen Rose, and you will need the following materials. So you'll need the Ellen Rose template, which can be found on my website. You'll need paper, 65-pound cardstock paper, pencil, Gorilla Glue sticks, the hot glue sticks, the full size. You'll need a dowel, a wooden dowel to curl the petals. You'll need scissors, Fiskars Scissors, and a glue gun. I'm using Surebonder Glue Gun. So let's get started. You will need 10 of these petals. This is to create the bud, the circular bud. So that's what's in the middle of the rose. You will need 10 of these. And you can cut as many papers as you want at the same time. It really is based on preference and also based on the type of scissors that you have. I'm able to cut anywhere from 4 to 5 at the same time with the Fiskars scissors that I currently use. Again, you need 10 of these of this petal. So now we will grab the second petal and we will start tracing this petal. You will need 20 of these. However, you do not need to trace 20 times. It really depends on how many you are able to cut at the same time. Okay, so now we are going to start with cutting the petals. So here I am cutting the first petal, and again, you will need 10 of these petals in order to make the bud. And now we will start cutting the second petal of the rose. Again, for this one you will need 20 petals to make the outer layers of the rose. Okay, so now that we have all of our petals cut, we will start curling the petals, and you will only need to curl the second petal. So the first petal that we use, do not curl those. That is meant for the bud. The petal that we are curling right now, you should have 20 of these, and this is for the outer layers. So we just curled one side of the petal. Now we are curling the other side of the petal. And you will do this for all 20 of the petals. Okay, so now we have all of our second petals curled. You should have a total of 20 of these curled, and this will be for the outer layers of the rose. And this is the first petal, and you should have 10 of these. So now we will start with making the bud. So you need the first petals, and you will need to glue the box that you see there of one of the petals. That it is your base. So you're just gonna glue that side, and you're gonna grab the other petal and put it on top of that base. And at the end you'll have a bow. Just adding some pressure there. And then I'm gonna fold them because those will come up. So you're gonna grab them like that. Again, I'm showing you how you're gonna grab them. And you're gonna make a little hole with those two petals. So at the end, it's gonna look like that. So now you're gonna add glue to that side right there. Not a lot of glue, just a little glue. Gonna add a little pressure, hold it for a little bit, not too long. And you're gonna add glue to the other side as well. So you have a kind of looks like a cone. And I just like to add a little pressure to make sure that it stays put. So now you're gonna continue adding glue to the base of the petal, and you're going to put it underneath that cone where that opening side is. Just add pressure there so make sure it does not come off later on. And you're going to do the same thing to the other side. You're going to go around the cone. So the cone has 4 sides, and you're going to add the petal to each side. I just like to add pressure on the base, the bottom of the base. And we have one last petal for that first layer. And there you go. So I am just adding pressure to the base here. Now I'm going to be adding glue to the side of the petal right there. Gonna bring that petal up and then grab that petal and bring it up and cover it just like that. You're making an opening, as you can see on the top, and then I'm gonna add pressure to both to that side and to the other side as well. So now we are gonna add glue to the petal. Same thing that we did to the previous 2 petals. So grab that, hold it right there, bring that petal up, and you're just going to add a little bit of pressure to the sides. So far we have 6 petals that we have used. We will need a total of 10. So we will just continue to add all of the petals that we have left to the base, so you'll have a total of 4. Okay, so I'm bringing that petal up. I just glued to the other petal, so you're just going to bring that on top of the other one. Just add some pressure right there with your fingers. And for the last petal, I'm actually going to glue them one by one. So bringing that up again and just adding pressure with your finger. And this will become this is our last petal right there. So you're just going to bring that up and continue to add a little bit of pressure there to the sides. Just like I'm doing, just add a little pressure. I just like to make sure that it will not come off. And this right here will become your bud. So now we will start using the second petal. So I just added some glue and I'm gluing it to the base. And you will continue doing this for all of the other 3 sides of that current bud. So add more glue to the base, and you're just going to go around the bud to make sure that all sides are covered. And again, I just add pressure to the base to make sure that it stays put. Maybe I do it a little too much, but I just want to make sure that it will not come off. Now on to our third petal, and each layer will have 4 petals. And this will become our last petal of the first layer of the rose. Again, just adding some pressure to the base of the rose. That's how the back should look like. So now I will add some glue to the petal right there, except I noticed that they were overlapping, so I'm just fixing it right there. See that triangle on the bud? That's going to be our guide as to where our petals will come up. So that triangle right there on the bud. So you're just going to pinch it like that and bring it up, and you are going to add a pressure to the part where there is glue. So you're coming like halfway. So again, just add pressure. Now I'm gonna add glue to that other petal. I'm just gonna bring that up. And meet with the petal that we just glued. Again, I just like to make sure that it will not come off later on in the process. So just with your finger, you can add that pressure. And now on to our last two of that first layer. And you're just gonna bring that petal up, just like I'm doing right now. Just like that. I cannot say it enough. Just adding pressure. And now on to the last petal of the first layer. So you're going to bring it up, going to add pressure, so we make sure that it stays put, and again later on in the process it will not be coming off. Just adding a little extra glue right there. And now we have our first layer completed. So now we're going to start with the second layer of the rose. I'm going to add glue to the base, and here I am aligning the petal with that pointy corner right there. So our bud has 4 corners, and we are placing that petal in the middle. We're going to make sure that it's in the middle of the base, as you can see right there. I'm going to add glue to the side. And we are going to bring it up just like that. And as you can see, it's going in between the 2 previous petals. And I just like to add, if I'm able to, put my finger inside one of the petals so I'm able to add more pressure. And again, I might overdo it, but I just want to make sure that it will not come off later on. So now, again, we're adding glue to the base, and we are going to go the opposite way. So that corner that we just did, now we're going to do that corner right there. opposite from the current one that we just did. Again, you're gonna do it in the middle. See right there, right across from the other petal. Because they're going to be right across from each other. You're going to add glue to the side, not a lot, just a little bit. So here we start adding the glue to the side. And you're just going to bring that up. So we're halfway done with our second layer of the rose. And I'm just making sure that the glue will stay put. And now I'm just adding glue to the base of the third petal. And again, we are putting it on one of the corners that's left. It doesn't matter which one you want to start off with, either that corner or the other one. It's really up to you. Again, just adding pressure to the base, make sure that it stays put. And now I'm going to be adding glue to the sides of the rose like that. Not so much. Just like that. And again, you're going to bring that petal up. And I do apologize that I took it away from the camera. I hadn't noticed when I was filming the tutorial. I'm just adding pressure, but I brought it up so that way it's in between the previous two petals, just like that. And this will be our last petal of the second layer of the rose. Just like that. We're going to add pressure to the bottom again. And we're just going to add glue. Just like that. And again, you're going to bring it up to the previous two petals that was glued before that one. So the previous layer, basically. Again, I apologize for getting off camera. Just adding more pressure. Like you can see, I am putting my other hand inside the bud so that way I'm able to have a more firm grip and I'm able to add more pressure. Now that we're done with the second layer, we will start off with the third layer of the rose. And I'm just going to be adding glue to the base. Now you will notice that it has 4 openings again. So there's one of the openings right there. And you're just going to add the base right there. You're going to glue it so that way it comes up like that. Again, adding more pressure to the base because I want it to be smooth when I finish the rose. So now we're just going to add glue again to that base. And we are going to go around the rose. Because when it comes up, it's going to come up like that. So we're going to do the same thing, add more glue to that base right there. Because we have 2 openings left. Every layer, remember, has 4 petals. So now this is our last petal of our 3rd layer. And so far I've just glued the bases down. So there's the back of the rose. Just making sure that it will not come off. So now that we have all of our 4 petals glued, the bases at least, we will start with gluing the sides of the roses, and we're gonna bring them up so it can start actually looking like a rose and not an awkward one. So we will grab that petal right there and add a little glue to the side right there. Just a little bit, not a lot. Same on the other side, so you can see where the glue is. And we're gonna bring that up. I'm gonna show you guys where they're gonna go. So right there. I'm gonna add glue. It makes the previous petals make like a little hump, and that's where you're adding and gluing that petal. So I just added a little bit of glue. We're gonna bring it up and attaching or gluing it to that hump of the previous one. And again, I apologize for getting off camera, but I am putting the glue on that 3rd petal and just gonna bring it up now. So now we have the 3rd, or no, this will be the 4th petal, I apologize. So this is the 4th petal of that 3rd layer. So we're gonna do the same thing, just bring it up and gluing it like that. So at the end it should look like that. Adding pressure. And the 3rd layer is complete. So now we are starting our 4th layer of the rose, and this will go in between the previous 2 petals, so just like that. You can see that it's between the previous 2 petals that we just glued. Again, I like to make sure that it will stick and not fall off later on. So just adding more glue to the bases of the petals, and I'm just going to be gluing them to the base of the rose, just like that. Make sure it's in the middle of the 2 petals. So we just continue to add glue to the base, and then gluing it to the actual base of the rose, just like that, and adding more pressure to the base. Again, the reason I add pressure to the base is because I want to make sure that when we're done with the rose, the base is smooth, and more importantly, that it's flat, because when you're putting it on the wall, you want to make sure that there's no bumps. So last petal of that fourth layer there. And as you can see, I like to glue the bases first, so all around the rose. Again, each layer has 4 petals, so we just glued on all of the petals of the 4th layer. So now we are going to be gluing them to the rose, so adding glue right there, and you're going to bring it up just like that, and gluing it to the previous 2 petals in between the previous 2 petals of the previous layer. And it can get a little tricky just because the rose is bigger. So just adding a little bit of glue to the sides right there. And we're going to bring it up just like that. I like to add, as you can see, I like to put my whole hand, if I'm able to, inside the previous petal just like that, so I can help with the pressure. Just like that. And we will do the same thing for the other 2 as well. So just adding glue to the sides of the petal in the bottom. And as you can see for that one, I only did one side because I believe it was getting a little bit harder for me to maneuver to gluing both sides of the petal at the same time. My hands are not gigantic. I have pretty small hands, so I wanted to make sure that the petals were being glued and attaching to the previous petals. So there I did both sides. So just bringing it up, but you can see that I'm gluing one at a time. So now we are done with our 4th layer of the rose, and we will get started with the last layer of the rose. So this will complete our 20 petals of the 2nd petal. So in total you should have used 30 petals. So again, this is repeating the same step that we had just done previously. Gonna add that petal in between the previous 2 petals, just like that. So we'll just keep adding glue to the base of the rose. Okay, so now that we have the petal on the base, we're going to add glue. Again, this is the last layer of our rose. So we're just going to add it to the, and glue it to the previous two petals. And the same thing for the other side. Just adding glue to the base, and we're going to do the same thing. Make sure that it's in the middle of the two previous petals and gluing it. Again, just adding some pressure to the base of the rose. And now we're going to add some glue. And it's just a little bit of glue. You don't want to do a lot. So you can see that I am gluing it to the previous two petals there. And just adding pressure. Cannot say that enough. And our rose is really starting to look like a rose. So now this is our last petal of our final layer of the rose. So make sure that the base is, and so far you can see that the base is flat actually, which is nice, which is really good. So now I'm just going to add the last petal of the rose. And we are just going to attach it just like that. As you can see, I'm putting my hand actually in one of the previous petals, so I'm able to add more pressure. And there you have it. There is our Ellen rose. And this template is available in my website, www.modernflowercreation.com, and it is available for free. Again, thank you so much guys for supporting Modern Flower Creation. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I will be making more in the near future here, so don't forget to like the video and also comment on the video. Let me know what you'd like to see next. Any other paper flower tutorial that you'd like to see, please definitely let me know. So comment below, and again, don't forget to like the video, share with your friends. It really does help Modern Flower Creation. Thank you so much guys.